Us on the platform at this point in time is Major Mohommed Shah, defense expert. Major General J.K.S. Parihar, senior defense expert, also with us on the program to give us insights into this. I'm going to go across to Major Mohommed Shah. Ali, you being somebody who spent a considerable time in understanding how civil defense is, arranged and orchestrated, what has been your opinion so far of what the government has been doing? There is a lot of concern that has come about that when it comes to places for civil protection, India is still lagging behind.
Right, Vineet. That's a very, very good question. Vineet, when an eventuality of a war comes, firstly, I'm never in favor of war anytime. It's very dreadful. But when we are provoked so many times and when Pakistan is asking for it, I think we better give it to them now. So now when if at all a warlike situation does arise, it is not the armies of the two nations which fight only. It is the entire nation which gets together and fights. So now when that happens, it's very, very important for the civilians to be protected. There are a lot of people who do not know about war, but they are the ones who are shouting, war, war, we want war. They don't know how dreadful it can be, in fact. And no one actually really wins from a war. I mean, both the nations suffer. But when a situation like that, if at all, has to arise, it's very, very important to make sure that the civilians of that nation are protected. Now, how do we protect them? A mock drill, for example, I would like to convey through your channel and through you that for people not to panic. I see a lot of people have been calling me up, and a lot of my friends, that what's going to happen? Are we going to go in for a war? What is this mock drill all about? I agree. I admit after 1971, there has not been a nationwide mock drill here, 244 districts. In fact, after 1965 war, in 1968, there was a proper ruling where these mock drills were specified. Especially in the Cold War era, right from 1979 to 1989 especially, the mock drills were carried out at that time to make sure that you are safe from air attacks, from missile attacks, from aerial attacks. So now, when that happens, what are we supposed to do? How do we protect ourselves? Firstly, I would advise people, if at all there is a basement, underground parking, because there are no bunkers readily available for the nation, right? If at all, to go into that. Otherwise, don't step out. Basically, it's basically that. And at night, there should be a complete blackout, because the enemy aircraft, if at all they do penetrate into a territory, they first look for light. They look for the targets to be identified and they will strike there. So there should be a complete blackout. There should not be much movement. In fact, just be calm, maintain your composure and sit and just keep prayers. I mean, prayers are very handy and it'll work. So people don't have to really, okay, when the siren blows, what are we going to do? How do we do? In schools, colleges and corporate offices, we have mock drills often for fire safety. In case a fire breaks out, what do we do? For earthquake, what do we do? So similarly, it's a very simple drill, very simple procedure. Now, one more thing. In case of an earthquake, what do? We go to an open space and stand there, waiting for the buildings. If at all they were to collapse, we are safe. Here it is the opposite. You don't have to really go out in the open. You have to rather take shelter beneath. So I think it's a very, very good sign. What the government is doing right now, I would say it's perfectly fine. In the army, we are taught Josh ke saath hosh. So what we are doing, right, we haven't even done anything. The funny part is this, we haven't even done anything to Pakistan. But look at the way they are so scared. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari gave out a hate speech. He gave out one more speech, and after the first hate speech, he sent out his family to Canada. Generals are booking chartered aircraft, and they're sending out people out of the country. So certainly, something which is laughable. The chief of the Arab, General Asim Munir, underground. He untraceable. He resurfaced after the Indian media called him out, standing on top of a tank. And if you observe closely, I'm sure General Parihar would have observed that he had a star plate at the tank, 4 stars. I have seen a staff car with stars, but I haven't seen a tank with stars ever. So it was hence proved it was definitely a setup. It was a stage which was set up for General Munir to come there and do his bit of dramatics, and the audience who were soldiers would show fake Josh, and they would. So when a ship sinks, the rats come out of the sinking ship and they jump out. That's what exactly is happening in Pakistan. Thirdly, I would like to conclude by saying there have been a lot of ceasefire violations. Why is that so? It is called speculative fire. When the enemy is expecting or thinking or imagining, oh, I can be attacked any moment and the enemy can proceed from here, they will open fire blindly in that particular direction. That's what they've been doing. So we need hence proof that Pakistan is actually quite rattled about what's happening in India right now.
All right.